Gemini is a family of large language models. Google DeepMind developed them. They are multimodal. Gemini is the successor to LaMDA and PaLM2. The product includes Gemini Ultra, Gemini Pro, and Gemini Nano. They announced it on December 6, 2023. It competes with OpenAI's GPT-4. It powers the generative artificial intelligence chatbot of the same name. Google announced Gemini at Google I/O on May 10, 2023. Gemini is a large language model, LLM, made by Google DeepMind, a Google subsidiary. It positioned itself as a more powerful successor to PaLM 2. PaLM 2 was also unveiled at the event. Google CEO Sundar Pichai said that Gemini was still in its early stages. Other LLMs were not like Gemini. It was unique because it was not just trained on a text corpus. They designed it to be multimodal. This means it could process many types of data at once, such as text, images, audio, video, and code. DeepMind and Google Brain developed it. They were two Google branches. They had merged into Google DeepMind the prior month. In an interview with Wired, DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis praised Gemini's power. He believed it would let the algorithm beat OpenAI's ChatGPT. ChatGPT runs on GPT-4. Google challenged its growing popularity with Lambda and Bard. Hassabis praised AlphaGo's strengths. It gained worldwide attention in 2016 when it beat Go champion Lee Sedol. He said Gemini would combine the power of AlphaGo and other Google DeepMind LLMs. In August 2023, The Information reported Google's plans for Gemini. They said the company aimed to launch it in late 2023. The report said Google wanted to beat OpenAI and others. It planned to do this by adding image generation. This is to the conversational text abilities found in most LLMs. It would enable it to create contextual images and serve a broader range of purposes. Google co-founder Sergey Brin, like Bard, came out of retirement to help make Gemini. He was one of hundreds of engineers from Google Brain and DeepMind. Later, they credited him as a core contributor to Gemini. Gemini trained using YouTube transcripts, so they brought in lawyers to filter out copyrighted materials. News of Gemini's impending launch came. It made OpenAI speed up its work. They were integrating GPT-4 with multimodal features like Gemini's. In September, The Information reported that several companies had early access to an early version of the LLM. Google planned to offer the LLM to clients through Google Cloud's Vertex AI service. The publication also said that Google was arming Gemini to compete with both GPT-4. It is also to compete with Microsoft's GitHub Copilot. On December 6, 2023, Pichai and Hassabis announced Gemini 1.0 at a virtual press conference. It comprised 3 models. Gemini Ultra is for highly complex tasks. Gemini Pro is for a wide range of tasks. And Gemini Nano is for on-device tasks. At launch, Bard and the Pixel 8 Pro phone integrated Gemini Pro and Nano. Gemini Ultra was set to power Bard Advanced. It would be available to software developers in early 2024. Google intended to include Gemini in other products. The products included Search, Ads, Chrome, Duet AI on Google Workspace, and AlphaCode 2. It was only available in English. Google touted Gemini as its largest and most capable AI model. It emulates human behavior. The company said Gemini would not be widely available until the following year. This was due to the need for extensive safety testing. Google's tensor processing units, TPUs, trained and powered Gemini. The name refers to the DeepMind Google Brain merger and NASA's Project Gemini. Gemini Ultra beat GPT-4. It also beat Anthropic's Claude 2, Inflection AI's Inflection 2, Meta's LLama 2, and xAI's Grok 1 on many tests. It also bested Gemini Pro, which beat GPT 3.5. Gemini Ultra was also the first language model to beat human experts. It did so on the 57-subject Massive Multitask Language Understanding (MMLU) test. It got a score of 90%. Google Cloud gave Gemini Pro to customers on AI Studio and Vertex AI on December 13th. Android developers will also receive Gemini Nano. Hassabis also said that DeepMind was exploring combining Gemini with robots. They would use them to interact with the world. In October, US President Joe Biden signed an executive order. In accordance with it, Google said it would share Gemini Ultra's test results with the US government. The company was also in talks with the UK government. They were to comply with the principles from the AI Safety Summit at Bletchley Park in November. Google and Samsung partnered to add Gemini Nano and Gemini Pro to the Galaxy S24 in January 2024. The next month, Bard and Duet AI became one under the Gemini brand. Gemini advanced with Ultra 1.0, then debuted in a new AI premium tier of Google One. Gemini Pro also received a global launch. In February, Google launched Gemini 1.5 in a limited way. It positioned itself as a better model than 1.0 Ultra. This step change happened through many technical advances. These include a new design. They also a mixture of experts approach. They have a larger 1 million token context window. This window is equal to an hour of silent video, 11 hours of audio, 30,000 lines of code, or 700,000 words. That same month, Google debuted Gemma. It is a family of free and open source LLMs. They are a lightweight version of Gemini. They come in two sizes. One has a neural network with 2 billion parameters, the other with 7 billion. Many publications saw this as a response to Meta and others open sourcing their AI models. It was a stark change from Google's long practice of keeping its AI private. Gemini 1, has 3 models. They have the same software. They are transformers that can only decode. They have changes to make them train and run efficiently on TPUs. They have a context length of 32,768 tokens, with multi-query attention. There are 2 versions of Gemini Nano. Nano 1 has 1.8 billion parameters, and Nano 2 has 3.25 billion parameters. Gemini distills them from larger models. Edge devices, like smartphones, use them. As Gemini is multimodal, each context window can contain multiple forms of input. You can mix the modes. They do not have to be in a set order. This allows for a multimodal conversation. Input images may have different resolutions, while video is input as a sequence of images. The universal speech model samples audio at 16 kHz, and then converts it into a sequence of tokens. Gemini's dataset is multimodal and multilingual. It has web documents, books, and code, and image, audio, and video data. Demis Hassabis claims that training Gemini 1 used about the same amount of compute. The price for GPT-4 might have slightly exceeded the rumored amount. The second generation of Gemini, Gemini 1.5, has 1 model published so far, Gemini 1.5 Pro. It is a multimodal sparse mixture of experts, with context length of multiple millions. Months of intense speculation and anticipation preluded Gemini's launch. MIT Technology Review called it peak AI hype. In August 2023, Dylan Patel and Daniel Nishbal work at research firm SemiAnalysis. They wrote a blog post. They said that Gemini would eat the world and beat GPT-4. This caused OpenAI CEO Sam Altman to mock them on X, formerly Twitter. Elon Musk is a business magnate. He co-founded OpenAI. He asked, "Are the numbers wrong?" Q Langley of Business Insider said Gemini would make or break Google. He wrote, "If Gemini dazzles, it will help Google change the story." Microsoft and OpenAI blindsided Google, according to the story. If it disappoints, it will embolden critics. They say Google has fallen behind. They unveiled it in December 2023. In reaction to this, Oren Etzioni is a professor at the University of Washington. He predicted a tit-for-tat arms race. The race will be between Google and OpenAI. Professor Alexey Efros of the University of California, Berkeley praised Gemini's multimodal approach. Scientist Melanie Mitchell of the Santa Fe Institute called Gemini very sophisticated. Professor Chirag Shah of the University of Washington was less impressed. He likened Gemini's launch to the routine of Apple's annual new iPhone event. Similarly, Stanford University's Percy Liang, the University of Washington's Emily Bender, and the University of Galway's Michael Madden cautioned that it was difficult to interpret benchmark scores without insight into the training data used. Mark Sullivan wrote for Fast Company. He said that Google had the chance to challenge the iPhone's market control. He believed that Apple was unlikely to be able to make a Siri like Gemini. Google shares spiked by 5.3% the day after Gemini's launch. People criticized Google for a demo video of Gemini. It was not done in real time.